he was 3 games from cruising. 2 sets up, 6-3, 6-2, a 5-1 lead in the third. The world number 1, the runaway favorite, a man who hadn't lost a single match since February. And then, in the space of 15 straight points, the best player on the planet simply came apart. This is the story of the biggest shock of the 2026 French Open. And it might be remembered long after the trophy is finally lifted. On a sweltering Thursday in Paris, world number 56 Juan Manuel Cerúndolo did what almost nobody thought possible. He beat Jannik Sinner 3-6, 2-6, 7-5, 6-1, 6-1, clawing back from 2 sets down to send the favorite home in the second round. 3 hours, 36 minutes, 15 consecutive points to steal the third set. One of the most stunning results Roland-Garros has produced this century. But keep the match talk right there, because the score isn't really the story. What the score means, that's the story. Start with the stakes. Carlos Alcaraz, Sinner's great rival, was missing this tournament with injury. That blew the draw wide open and made Sinner the second biggest French Open favorite since 1990. Bookmakers had him at nearly -300 to complete the career Grand Slam. The one major he has never won. The path was clear, the pressure was all opportunity. Now consider the history. You have to go back to the year 2000, to Andre Agassi, to find the last time a men's world number 1 crashed out of a Grand Slam before the third round. 26 years. And Cerúndolo became the first player since that same year, 2000, to take down the top men's seed at Roland-Garros this early. For Sinner, there's a quieter cruelty in it too. For the second straight year, his Paris campaign ended in 5 sets. The career slam stays unfinished, and the aura of invincibility was gone in a single afternoon. But here's where it gets complicated, because Sinner didn't just lose, he broke down. Leading 5-1 in that third set, he dropped 15 points in a row, grabbed at his back, and stopped. Cramping, dehydration in brutal Paris heat, temperatures that started in the mid-80s and climbed past 90. And then came the moment that lit up the broadcast. The chair umpire allowed Sinner a medical timeout, roughly 10 minutes off the court. The problem? Tour rules do not permit a timeout for cramping, full stop. TNT analyst and former French Open champion Jim Courier didn't hold back. On air, he called the decision absolute baloney. And his point cut deeper than the moment itself. The top players drive the sport, but the rules have to apply to everyone the same way. To a lot of viewers watching at home, it looked like the game's biggest star had been handed a lifeline that a lower-ranked player would never get. And if that sounds familiar, it should. Just weeks earlier, at the Italian Open, Sinner was granted a near-identical timeout in a match against Daniil Medvedev. Medvedev was furious. He accused the tour of bending its own rules for its favorites. That day, Sinner recovered and won. This time, the script flipped. He came back from the break, dropped the third set anyway, and was never himself again. 2 more sets, 6-1 and 6-1, and it was over. The tennis world reacted instantly, and it ran the full emotional range. Heartbreak, disbelief, and, inevitably, a wave of dark humor aimed squarely at every bettor who had backed the sure thing. One fan captured the mood perfectly. Watching Sinner lose last year's final was painful, but somehow, this one hurt more. A fanbase that had spent all morning planning a coronation, suddenly staring at an empty draw where their champion used to be. Among the analysts, the conversation split clean in 2. One half argued about the timeout. Was it fair? Was it even legal? Did an officiating call just help decide a Grand Slam match? The other half asked the bigger question, the one that actually keeps you up at night if you love this sport. If the fittest, most relentless competitor of his generation can be broken by the heat and his own body while holding a 2-set lead, then how impossibly fine are the margins at the very top? Sinner himself offered no drama at all. He admitted he'd slept poorly and simply hadn't felt right from the moment he woke up. No grand excuse, no villain, just a flat acknowledgement that some days, even for the best player in the world, the body doesn't answer the call. He said he needed time to recover physically and, in his own words, mentally too. And let's not lose the man who actually won this match. Because for all the focus on Sinner's collapse, Juan Manuel Cerúndolo just played the night of his life. The 24-year-old Argentine had never beaten a top 10 player. Had never reached the third round of a major. A year ago, at this very tournament, he went out in the second round. On Thursday, he outlasted a 4-time Grand Slam champion in punishing heat. And crucially, he refused to let the size of the moment swallow him. "I'm super happy," he said afterward, promising only to keep going and keep playing his best. He'll face Martin Landelas next, a man who, on the very same day, pulled off his own comeback from 2 sets down. That's the other truth buried in every great upset. It always has two authors. One who falters, and one who simply refuses to stop swinging. And Sinner wasn't the only seed to fall. Italy's Matteo Arnoldi knocked out former Grand Slam finalist Stefanos Tsitsipas 7-6, 5-7, 6-3, 6-2. Up and down the men's bracket, names that were supposed to be roadblocks are gone. Even the new generation is forcing its way through. A 17-year-old reached the last 32. The youngest man to do so at a major since a teenager named Rafael Nadal back in 2003. Which leaves one very familiar figure now standing taller than everyone else. With Sinner out, Novak Djokovic is the only former Grand Slam champion left in the entire men's draw, at 39 years old. On Friday, he meets the Brazilian teenager João Fonseca, the old guard against the future. And suddenly that becomes one of the most compelling matches of the whole tournament. The road to the title, which 2 days ago looked like Sinner's to lose, is now wide open. Anyone's to take. So what's the lasting image of this one? A man 2 sets and a break ahead, one of the most dominant players tennis has ever produced. Undone not by a rival's brilliance, but by the heat, by his own body, and by a moment of officiating that nobody is ever going to agree on. They call tennis the most brutal individual sport in the world, and days like this are why. No clock to run out, no teammate to carry you when your legs go. Just you, the other side of the net, and however much your body has left to give. On Thursday in Paris, the favorite ran out. And a 24-year-old who had never won anything close to this was standing right there, ready to take everything. The trophy hasn't been decided yet. But this tournament already has its defining story, and it is not the one anybody predicted.